A genius who loses the control of his emotions can be a financial disaster. Welcome to What Mindset. Let's get into the first episode of the interesting book Psychology of Money, which explores how money moves around in an economy and how personal biases and the emotional factor play an important role in our financial decision. I spent my college years working as a man's mail attendant who is responsible for clothes and appearance at a nice hotel in Los Angeles. One frequent guest was a technology executive. He was a genius, having designed and patented a key component in Wi Fi routers in his 20s. He had started and sold several companies. He was wildly successful. He also had a relationship with money that I would describe as a mix of insecurity and childish stupidity. He always carried a stack of $100 bills several inches thick. He showed it to everyone who wanted to see it and many who didn't. He was too proud and shouted loudly about his wealth, often while drunk. One day he handed my colleagues several $1,000s of cash and said, "Go to the jewelry store down to the street and get me few $1,000 gold coins." An hour later, gold coins in hand, the tech executive and his buddies gathered around by the dock overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Then they proceeded to throw the coins in the sea, skipping them like rocks, crackling as they argued whose went farthest. Just for fun. Days later, he shattered a lamp in a hotel's restaurant. A manager told him it was $500 lamp and he had to replace it. "You want $500? The executive asked, incredibly, while pulling a brick of cash from his pocket and handing it to the manager. "Here's $5,000. Now get out of my face and don't ever insult me like this again." You may wonder how long this behavior could last, and the answer was not too long. I learned years later that he went broke. The premise of this book is that doing well with the money has a little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. And behavior is hard to teach, even to really smart people. A genius who loses control of his emotions can be a financial disaster. The opposite is also true. Ordinary folks with no financial education can be wealthy if they had a handful of behavioral skills, and that have nothing to do with formal measure of intelligence. Hope you enjoyed this episode and stay tuned for the next.